Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, Sonic Love. So in today's video, I'm going to do a heavily requested video, which is a step-by-step process of how to install custom firmware, aka the RG35XX H. You're going to need a SD card, so anywhere between 16 and 32 is probably preferable. I would advise to get a high capacity SD card, which is normally SanDisk or Samsung. Please don't buy those cheap generic ones because they're not good and it will be prone to being corrupt. I'm not saying that the SanDisk card won't get corrupt. It may do, but you are less likely to have that experience if you get the SanDisk or Samsung card. So you'll need one for the operating system, which is the firmware, which will go into TF card slot 1, and you will also need one that will be for your ROMs and BIOS. Normally you can just get a 128, but yeah, it's entirely up to you what your preference is. 256 or 512 even, depending on how many ROMs that you want to load on to the RG35XX H to run them. You will also need some type of card reader, micro SD card reader, unless your PC or laptop has a slot it can directly go into. And you'll also obviously need a PC or a laptop. So without further ado, let's go through the step-by-step process and install new stock firmware for the RG35XX H. So there's actually two ways that we can go about flashing the SD card. We can use a new standard SD card, which I recommend, or you may not have that option or ability to do that, so you may have the existing stock firmware, so you want to reflash this and make it acceptable so you can flash the firmware onto it. So you will need a software program called Disk Genius. I will leave links to it in the description below, and I will show you this process to change it over. And also the process of just flashing an SD card is exactly the same, but without this step that I'm showing you now. I will say you will have to firstly go on to Anbernic. Download. Click on Anbernic download. If we scroll down, you will see the different firmwares and what you can download. We're going to choose the RG35XX H. So if we scroll down, we can see RG35XX H-EN/240428. You'll see that it is a version 1.1.0. That is the one that we have to use. We have to highlight the HTTPS. We need to right click and go to HTTPS. You should get a screen like this, and in the bottom, well, middle left hand side, you will see download. We need to click download. Your download has started. If we just go up to the top here, you'll see that it is 59.1 gig. Unfortunately, not like the other versions, they haven't separated the ROMs from the operating system itself, so it is a combined file of 59.1 gig. It does take a long time to download, so please just be patient with it. It will come with two folders, so it will come with a folder. We put it to the middle. You have to right click. You have to use 7-zip. If you haven't downloaded that, then download it, and then we need to extract all. Then we hit extract all. Then we will get another folder which looks like this. And once we go inside, you'll see that we have the OS image here. So what we're going to do is now we're going to use Disk Genius to take all the information off here and make it acceptable so we can reflash the software. So we take our SD card, we stick it in the micro SD card reader, we plug it into the PC or laptop. It now says F. So I now know which one to use. I will close this down. I will start up Disk Genius. It will say, does it want to make changes? Yes. So you'll have a list of everything here. You'll see that it says Anbernic, Share and Games. So what we want to do is highlight the generic 14 gig card. We know it's 16, but we just want to change it. So what we want to do is we want to delete the partitions. So we right click on the partitions and delete current partition. Right click, delete current partition. Right click, delete current partition. Then we just have our standard generic SD card with free space. So we want to save all. Do you want to make changes? Yes. Please make sure that you're doing the right card, otherwise you can wipe your computer. Please be aware of that. Once that is done, we go back to the top partition, we right click and we create new partition. We want to use FAT32, so just leave it as it is and click OK. Back up to save all. It'll ask if you want to write it straight away. Yes. And then it will rewrite it. You'll know it's done because it should pop up in the bottom right hand corner. Detected the card and now it is E. So we can then close Disk Genius. We can then start the second process, which is balena etcher. Link in the description for both guys if you need it. This is what we'll use to flash the firmware. So if you just have your normal generic standard card that you've bought, you will not need to use Disk Genius or reflash it or do any of that. You will just go straight to this step, which will be downloading the firmware, extracting the firmware, and then placing the firmware into balena etcher. So again, we'll go to flash from file, or you can just drag and drop. Flash from file. Highlight and select the RG35XX H v1.1.0. Go to open. Make sure you go to change on SD card and make sure you have the right one selected. So I'm going to use the generic 15.5 gig one. See, so I'm glad this has happened, guys, because the standard generic firmware is 16 gig, but it's actually 15.5 gig on the SD card, which is now saying to me that it's too small. So be aware of that. So if you want to reflash the existing SD card that you have from your Anbernic device, it actually is too small. That's what it's saying. So I'm going to cancel that, but I'm glad I've shown you that, guys. So as you can see, I've now put in a 32 gig SD card. Please make sure that you select the right one, as I have a 1 to 8 gig SD and a 32, but I've just highlighted the 32. Then we go to select, and then we hit flash. It will ask you if you want to do it, and you go, hell yes. And then the flashing will start. I'll come back at the end. So once it's finished flashing and validating, it will then say flash complete. Then we can take the SD card out and pop it into the RG35XX H. So we'll place the SD card into the RG35XX H. And we'll turn it on. You'll be greeted with the Anbernic logo. It does take a while, so please be quite patient with it. You should get a 3/4 blue ring with the Anbernic logo at the bottom saying installing. So what do we all think about the RG Cube from Anbernic? Honestly, they are rapidly releasing handhelds on an epic scale, but I'm really excited. I love the SP and the Cube. I think they're going to be really, really exciting handhelds. I just hope they have a real powerful chipset into the Cube, and I'd be happy with the 700, H700 in the SP. What do you think, guys? Love to know your thoughts on that. And if this video has helped, then please consider subscribing for more retro gaming goodness, and also hitting the like button helps with the algorithm. And if you want to message me up, then just leave something in the comments for me, man, and I'll get back to you. If there's anything that you need help with on this, then yeah, just let me know. I'll always be glad to accommodate you. With this latest version of firmware, there is supposed to be even more optimization to PSP. So I will do another video showcasing the PSP performance to see if there is indeed any more improvements to frame rate, especially on games like God of War and harder to run games. I just heard a noise, so it looks like it is finishing. So it's rebooted itself. And there we have it. As you can see, we have a new logo where it has games. We have RetroArch, we have the annoying sound. So if we go all the way to settings, and then if we go down to firmware, you'll see that it successfully installed version 1.1.0. So what you do is then you get your second SD card, guys, and then you place all your ROMs and BIOS files on there. And then once you've done that, you insert the SD card. You can do it while it's off or on, it doesn't really matter, I don't think. And then if we come back out of here, and if we go into games, you'll see that we have all the games there. If we click on one, make sure it works. Yep. So we have successfully installed the firmware, guys. I hope this video has helped. Please like, share, subscribe for more content. If there is anything that you need to know, guys, just let me know in the comments. But I really do hope that this has helped you install new firmware, to the latest firmware to your RG35XX H. But this actually works with all custom firmware. So if you have like Kuriki, and you just go to the Kuriki website, you download the firmware, you extract the firmware, you get SD card, you get balena etcher, you flash it to the SD card, and then you just go through the same process of what this video has just shown you with the stock firmware, guys. But as I say, if you want to see what the stock firmware is like performance wise, then I will get a video out at some point tomorrow, so tune in for that. And as always, take care.